Welcome to TalkFCB and welcome back here to a news roundup coming up for you today, guys. And we do have some interesting topics and important topics on the agenda. We're going to be talking, of course, about Ernesto Valverde's future at Barcelona. We're going to be talking about the rumours surrounding Marcelo Gallardo, the River Plate coach. We're also going to be discussing Barca's recent form and a few things I've noticed over the past few days. It's all coming up. Let's get right to it. But I want to start here with a few very interesting stats regarding the past two times that we faced Slavia Prague in the Champions League. Because you remember away from home, it was a 2-1 win, but it was a very, very unconvincing display. And even then in that win, the alarm bells started ringing. It wasn't good from Barcelona. We were really, really poor. And after the game, we were all talking about how much less we ran than our opponents. In that game, it was evident that Slavia Prague were working much harder. They were much, much better in terms of closing down space, pressing game was much better, and clearly their Barcelona was second best. After the game, we've spoken about it before, Valverde was asked about those numbers and he said basically maybe the data isn't correct. He was making excuses there for the players and basically saying maybe that's not what happened. And you were then expecting in the home game maybe a bit more urgency, maybe a bit more work ethic, maybe work a bit harder there in front of your own fans, go out there and make a statement. As we all saw, Barcelona fell completely flat. And I was actually there after the game looking through some stats, looking at how we played, looking at the numbers behind that poor performance, and wouldn't you just know it, look here. Look at the stats once again, and yeah, I would accept there that probably Slavia Prague would run more because they were defensive, of course, they were closing down the spaces, they were working really, really hard there to get a point, but not by that much. That is ridiculous. That is a clear gulf there in work ethic, and Barca, they don't care. They are not working hard, they are not running, they are not putting their soul and their blood into these performances. They don't want it enough. And you know what happened today? Do you know what happened today? The full team, the first team squad, they had a day off. They were given a day off by Ernesto Valverde. And a few people actually made excuses here and they said, look, that day off this week, that was a planned thing that happened before. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's already been planned. You can easily cancel days off. You get the guys in. You get them into training and you make them correct those mistakes. But this is what I mean. We spoke about it yesterday. We spoke about the player power. We spoke about the weak management. This is what we're seeing. Barcelona players, they should be in training. They should be doing everything possible to change our performances. They should be doing everything in their power to put things right, but it's not happening. They are doing everything but addressing the problems, and Valverde, just like we spoke about yesterday, he's letting them do it. And they're happy with that. And that, for me, guys, is one of the most frustrating things with Barcelona at the moment. Because I believe here with Valverde, with the board, like we've spoken about, all the issues that Barcelona have, for me, there's no quick fix. We're not going to see Barcelona reinvented overnight. We're not going to see a switch that's flipped and suddenly now things are back to normal. It's not going to be that simple. It's going to take a lot more than that and a lot more changes to make those kind of things happen. But I do feel that we can actually improve things and we can actually there see a bit of a spike in form, some better performances. It's quite simple. If the players work a bit harder, if they give that little bit more just to give us fans something to celebrate, and I do believe working just that bit more, it would increase performances, it would get better results, and it sounds simple, but you guys think about it. When teams change coaches, when they bring in there a new face, when you're trying to turn around a club's fortunes, you bring somebody in, and the biggest thing that a new coach actually says and brings to the club straight away is, you know what, let's just work that 10% more, let's give that bit more and give ourselves there a good base, a good start, a good structure, and actually there, work hard to get things right. The basics, it's absolutely basic stuff. But Barca right now, they're just not doing that either. And speaking of coaching changes, let's now move on to the latest news regarding Ernesto Valverde's future at Barcelona. ESPN came out yesterday and said pretty much what we all expected, that Valverde right now still has the support of the board, of the president. Bartomeu still very much counts upon Valverde, and they've said this before. Bartomeu doesn't make rash decisions. He's not just going to jump in there and suddenly do something very, very quick. We expected that, and we didn't expect anything less from that coward. But they did say maybe the tiny glimmer of hope that we wanted. They said a continuation of bad results in the coming weeks, a continuation there of the performances that we've seen over the past few days or so. That could lead to a rethink at Barcelona and potentially things could change. But right now, they're not going to sack Valverde. Marca went on to say that Barcelona's board, again, aren't going to make a big decision right now on Valverde. They're not going to do something mid-season. But they did say that Valverde will not be continuing for 2020 to 2021. So they're not going to extend that contract by a further year. You'd really hope not that Valverde at the end of the season there is going to be gone. And Marca say the number one candidate right now is Ronald Koeman, but he's not the only option for Barca right now. And it is interesting that Marca have said there that Ronald Koeman would be the man that could come into Barcelona, as many outlets are saying right now, but he's not the only option. And there is one man who's certainly been linked to Barcelona very heavily now over the past few months, and that's Argentinian coach Marcelo Gallardo. You may or may not have heard of this very, very exciting coach. 43 years old, so he's certainly not exactly a youngster, but he's not old either. He's in the sort of mid-term now of his managerial career. He's currently the coach of River Plate in Argentina. And I tell you what, he has been incredibly successful right now in Argentina with River Plate. He's actually won the Copa Libertadores twice in the past 4 years, and that is a big, big achievement there in South America. And I'm sure you'll all remember, actually, last year's controversial final, 2018. It was actually held finally there at the Santiago Bernabeu, as River Plate there saw off their arch-rivals Boca Juniors to lift that trophy. And I also want to say here, he's not only been successful, but he's played some very, very good, very aesthetically pleasing football there at River Plate, and Gallardo has good pedigree. Now, I mention all this because over the past few weeks we have heard a number of rumours linking Gallardo with Barcelona, potentially if a change was made mid-season. Some people believe that Gallardo could be the man brought in there from Argentina. Sport, though, have put a slight dampener on those rumours. They've said that is not exactly true. Barcelona have not yet spoken with Gallardo over a managerial position. They say right now that Valverde is safe in his role. They've also gone on to say there that Messi is not requesting Gallardo. Obviously, there's a link between Messi and Gallardo both being Argentinian. There was also the link, of course, when Tata Martino was appointed at Barcelona. But sports say there that Messi has not requested him, and he has never requested any particular coach. So something there to bear in mind. I would keep an eye on Gallardo. I'd certainly watch some of his football and see what he's all about at River Plate. He's been very, very good there. But as for the time being, Valverde remains in charge, and it will take more bad performances and certainly more towards more bad results to actually here force any immediate change. And to be honest, like I said before, it's kind of what we expected from this board. And finally, guys, I want to give you some news and a bit of an update here on Jordi Alba. Of course, he came off at half-time in the game against Slavia Prague, and of course, Junior Firpo wasn't even on the bench in that game. Jordi Alba now has been officially ruled out with exactly the same injury that he's just come back from. He has had there a complete relapse in his left leg. He has once again suffered a muscle injury there, and that says to me that Jordi Alba was rushed back. I believe there, if you're suffering a relapse that quickly after coming back, he was certainly rushed back too soon there for the Champions League game this week. And that just begs the question, what are we doing? What are we doing now to rush back a player that we signed a backup for? There was no need to do that, and Jordi Alba now could be out for up to 1 month of action, which does put him in doubt for the rearranged Clásico in December. And of course, the big question now is, guys, what are we going to do? Is Valverde now suddenly going to say, oh yeah, I remember that we got Junior Firpo, I remember now that we have a backup left back, in you come again, now you can have some minutes. And that for me is ridiculous, because I'll tell you what's going to happen. We're now, just like when Alba got injured, we're in desperate need of a left back. Junior Firpo is going to be brought in. He's going to play there at left back, and if he doesn't play well in his first game back, people are going to be saying, what's he doing? Well, I'll tell you what's happened. His confidence has been smashed by Valverde. We've seen this with many, many players before him. Suddenly now, he's being called in after he wasn't trusted, after he wasn't had any faith put in him in that left back role. Suddenly now, Valverde needs him, so he's going to be brought back in. He should have been there anyway. He should have been on the bench. He should have been played in some games. And certainly now, when we really, really need him, his confidence is not going to be high. And that, the sole blame for that, is on Ernesto Valverde's shoulders. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see, number one, if Junior Firpo plays against Celta Vigo this weekend, and number two, if he does play, how's he going to perform? I'd love him to do well and shut Valverde right up. And so that is that for today's news roundup, guys. Very, very sorry, as you know, that I couldn't bring you more encouraging news on the Valverde situation. He does remain in power, and it does seem like that's going to be the case now going in to this international break. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think that if these bad performances and the bad results continue, could Valverde's job be at risk? Could we possibly sack him mid-season? Would that ever happen under this current board? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, if you've watched River Plate, let me know your thoughts thoughts on Gallardo. Very, very interesting there to hear your thoughts on him. I will see you soon, of course, with more videos. One more game to go until the international break, and then we can all have a bit of Barcelona downtime. I'll see you soon, guys. Thank you, as always, for watching. But until next time, as always, Visca el Barça.